Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. That intro was about 2 minutes long, but it does highlight all the people that I'm very proud of that have joined with me to bring these great shows. I couldn't do it alone, that's for sure. So there was one guy missing in it, though, and I steadily beat myself over it. We'll give an extra free play if you can identify the gentleman who was missed on the promo, which would be pretty good if you could identify that. But anyway, welcome to the show, Rob and Tony. How are things going for you? We'll start with Rob.
Things are good, John. Things are good. Obviously, we're getting into a hectic time of year for all of us. Workload increases as each day goes by. But again, wouldn't do it if we didn't love it. So certainly we're taking a good look at preseason football. Boy, and real quick, and I know we'll get into it a little bit, but there's been a lot of useful, playable preseason information come out in the last 24 hours or so. So it's interesting to see so much of that out there for public consumption this early. But, we'll play it accordingly. And baseball's still going strong. NBA Summer League, obviously, keeping an eye on that as well. So lots going on here.
It sure is. And you triggered my memory. Ralph Michaels put together another great resource piece for the NFL. I believe it's well over 40 pages, am I right? And it can be had for free over at the Gold Sheet. So I should put up that link. But I think that started yesterday. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, I saw it earlier this week, whether it was yesterday or Monday. Oh, today's Tuesday, so yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
It's also the time of year days run together.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse, Tony, as the season starts. We know when Sunday is.
Yes.
We definitely know when Saturday and Sunday is. You may be wondering where I am. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. The Wyndham Championship is tomorrow. Well, it starts on Thursday. And it's the last PGA event of the regular season, so to speak. And what I mean by that is guys that make the top 25 in the world golf ratings will advance to the first week of the FedEx Cup, where the winner gets $25 million, and Dustin Johnson was awarded that check last year. But it's really it was a great show with David Berriman just an hour ago, and really focusing on the guys that are just outside the 125. The top 125 make it. Guys like Ricky Fowler. We talked about him at length. He's 130, so he's going to have to play pretty well to get in there. And CT Pan was another guy you mentioned, sitting in 118th. So even those guys have to play well to maintain being in the first week of the FedEx Cup, which is held in North Jersey. So that'll be a great event. That's about all I have for golf for now. And I know that's a good thing to do, to make a short segment with golf. I'm told that it's similar to women's platform diving or something was talked about on the WagerTalk today last week. And I don't know. I told Rob, Tony, that whether you're a woman or a man going off that 10-meter platform, you're going about 35 miles an hour when you hit that water. And if you've ever felt water even remotely at that speed, it's like hitting cement. And if you don't go through the water right, you could easily dislocate your shoulder. All kinds of weird stuff can go wrong. But anyway, back on track. Yesterday on the show, and I can brag about this because I was a part of it. We talked about the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees game. And in our final breakdowns, Rob Veno gave a great breakdown why he liked the first 5 under. And guess what? It was 0-0 after 5. Not only after 5, it was 0-0 after 6. We then had Tony Finn, who liked the over in that game and for the game, but not for the first 5, obviously. And Finn apologized to Rob, saying, I don't mean to go against you. And I said, I don't know. No. You guys got this right. And I said, here's what my thought was. We do the under first 5 pre-flop. And then if that's working, say like 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, going into the fifth, we're going to be able to get that total at about half of what it was. So lo and behold, I just happened to look at it. And then I saw it 0-0 in the fourth and made a recommendation to get it at 3.5, even though the market at the time was 4.5. The pitchers' pitch counts were low, and you knew that they had a real good chance of going at least 5. Both pitchers went 6 plus innings, gave up a run each in the seventh, and there was 14 runs scored in that game. But Rob Veno, tell us why this game was so special historically.
Well, if I'm to believe Steve Merrill, it's the first time it's ever happened in Major League Baseball history, which Steve said includes over 240,000 games, which means what happened last night, you had a chance, 1 in over 240,000 chance of having it happen, which the way it's described, John, is 5 consecutive innings, including extra innings, where the visiting team scored and the home team answered with the exact same amount of runs. That happened for 5 straight innings and had never happened before. So it just proves, there are people that are inside the game that say they learned something new or they see something new in baseball almost daily, and that would be something new last night that nobody's ever seen since Abner Doubleday created the game in 1869 or whatever.
I didn't see the ending. I must admit, I had sleep medicine watching The Bachelor, and that put me out watching The Bachelor, which I am vowing not to watch ever again.
Oh, dear.
I'm sure watching that baseball game would have been a hell of a lot better.
I had run line plays on the on the Padres, Marlins, and the Royals, Yankees, and the Yankees too, stupidly because it looked bad for a long time. But those games started, I think, a couple hours away from each other and finished maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from each other. And yeah, it was a wild ride when you're laying 1.5 with New York, and the bullpen can't hold anything. They did go up multiple runs. Then you figured, all right, well, they're going to win by 1, and then the Royals rally back, and then you end up covering. So it was one of those nights in terms of seeing stuff that you don't normally see. I won 2 of my 3 summer league games. The one that I lost was a game that went to overtime. The Magic and the who were they playing? Kyle Guy's playing for them because he had the big shot there at the end. Oh, the Warriors. So it was Kuminga and Moses Moody debuting for the Warriors. Second game because they played out in California Classic against Orlando, who was debuting Jalen Suggs. It was a fun game. Magic were favored by 3. Cole Anthony hits a couple of free throws there, and with 4 seconds left, it's a 4-point game. Covering, they run a baseline out of bounds play for Kyle Guy, who gets it near the half court line to the point where he almost stepped on the line. It was borderline. They could have called it, and it would have saved me a loss. But instead, he airballs it, and the center, who I don't remember his name because he's never going to make the team, actually catches it behind his head, throws it. Really high degree of difficulty, and of course it caroms in. 2-point loss, or 2-point win for Orlando, 1-point loss for me. So, yeah. So I really felt good about getting the Yankees game after that.
Oh, I'm sure. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yep.
I can.
Yeah,
I've got
I'm
that
just checking
echo
the
again today.
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from. I was just making sure that we were live on YouTube, which we are. Sometimes this technology is not a perfect science, and you can load everything up right. You can have all the feeds right, and it sounds like you're talking from Greensboro, North Carolina. But I can't wait to talk about the Major League Baseball, and I think you guys know where I'm going to go right away with this. I didn't even need to put this on the agenda. But the Dodgers are in town in Philadelphia. Philly's on an 8-game win streak. They have Aaron Nola on the hill. They are up to about a plus 145, plus 150, I think now, underdog on an 8-game winning streak. So my thought is that, believe it or not, the Phillies are on an 8-game win streak, and this is a contrarian bet to bet on the Phillies because the world thinks that, well, the Phillies aren't that good, and the Dodgers are that good. So therefore, the Dodgers will hammer the daylights out of them tonight. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the game, and if you don't have any definitive opinion, that's fine too. But let's start with Rob Veno on the Dodgers versus Phillies and also the series.
Well, for the game in particular, I'll give you what I gave the guys on WagerTalk today, this morning or early afternoon on the East Coast. I used as a free play under the under the 4.5 runs for the first 5 innings. When you go through the career batting averages of both of these rosters, all the available hitters for each team tonight against the opposing pitchers, you find some really good numbers for these pitchers. The Phillies, anybody they can put on the in the batter's box tonight. Obviously, Rhys Hoskins is out again from that lineup, but their hitters have hit 190 career against Max Scherzer. And that's no small sample size because Max Scherzer has pitched in Washington in the NL East for quite a number of years. So 190 career batting average against him as a team, 265 on base percentage, 376 slugging. There are 3 guys in that Philly lineup that have given Scherzer some problem. Brad Miller, Bryce Harper, Odubel Herrera, all from the left side. The rest of the Phillies, all-inclusive, have gone 15 for 129, batting 116 against Scherzer. So you would expect that he will pitch pretty well against this team. He's obviously done it for a number of years. On the other side of the coin, the Dodgers are even worse against Aaron Nola. Their team has hit 189 collectively against Aaron Nola. Not as big of a sample size, but not a small one either. The guy who's had the most at-bats, obviously, against Aaron Nola is Trey Turner. Trey Turner's only hit 184 against Nola in his career. So the Dodgers, with their 189 team collective batting average, 222 OBP, you would think that Nola will be able to tame the Dodger lineup as well. Aaron Nola at home, this always comes into play with me because I won't bet this guy on the road because the discrepancy is so vast. But at home, and again, it's amazing how he pitches so much better at home in Citizens Bank, a place that's just designed for the hitters. But at home this year, 4-2 with a 3.8 ERA, a 1.00 whip. Teams have only hit 223 against Aaron Nola in this stadium this year. So all those starting pitching numbers add up to a low-scoring first 5. And then we'll go to the Phillies offense, which although they swept the Mets over the weekend, when you dig into the numbers, you find that they really didn't hit the ball whatsoever. They went 21 for 90 collectively over the 3-game series. It's a 233 batting average, and they had a 258 on-base percentage, both far below average. So maybe that helps Scherzer here as well. The 5-inning totals at the end of those 3 games, and granted, a lot of that is because of the Mets. But in those 3 games, the totals after 5 were 2, 3, and 4. I think that both of these pitchers probably can keep it under 4.5 here. There's always the opportunity in Citizens Bank for fly balls to get out of the park on a summer night like we have here. John, the heat in our area is insane. I continue to get heat advisory warnings on my iPhone here. I think you get the feels like 105 right now here outside of Philadelphia. So it wouldn't be a surprise if you get a couple fly balls up in the air. But neither one of these pitchers has allowed them through pretty long careers. So I'm going to go with under 4.5. I think the starting pitching numbers all add up. I'll minus the bullpens out of it, even though both bullpens had yesterday off. Not sure that I would trust either in the late innings. Under 4.5 first 5 innings.
It almost feels like a repeat of that game to Kansas City and Yankees. It really does. Like, you can't really trust the bullpens. We saw in the Mets series, Philly was up 5-0, and then in the top of the 9th gave up 3 consecutive home runs, then a walk, nobody out, and the tying run is at the plate. And of course, the Mets did what they do best, and they did not score from that point on. But that's the thing that does bother me about the sweep. I don't think, the Phillies sweeping the Mets is all that impressive. If they then swept the Dodgers now, of course you could say, well, they should have won 2 out of 3 at least. They were at home, where they do play better. And Noah does pitch better. I always remember Cole Hamels. Hamels was just god-awful if the game started between 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Just absolutely terrible. I don't know. I'd have to look it up if he even won a playoff game when he started at 1 o'clock. So I was talking to some guys last night about, like, say the Phillies make it, and they probably play Milwaukee at this point. How does the rotation go? And we talked about this on the show. Do you save Noah and you go Wheeler, Gibson, and then Noah Game 3, figuring that you can split Milwaukee, and then go up 2-1, and then I guess have Ranger Suarez in Game 4, and then rinse and repeat. But I don't know. Who knows at this point whether that can stand up to Milwaukee or not. But I guess you would think Girardi would put Noah in a home game in that first series, I guess. Guess who's in the waiting room here? Mr. Finn.
Finny City.
Never,
Finn.
never, ever pick and choose a spot for your ace. If your ace can't step up and pitch in any place, anytime, anywhere, then he's not your ace.
Okay, I'll counter that. This is a good discussion. Okay, the ace was Aaron Nola at the beginning of the season. And there's been teams like the Dodgers who've had some guy named Clayton Kershaw, I think he throws left-handed, as their ace. But with their roster right now, would you say, or even the last 3 years, would you say Clayton Kershaw was the ace? He was labeled the ace in all 3 seasons, but when it comes to playoff time...
No, here's the deal. Clayton Kershaw hasn't been healthy enough the last 3 years to be considered the ace. Part of being an ace is going out there and pitching hurt, not getting hurt, finding a way to pitch hurt, being an ace. Who labeled? I guess it's subjective to who's labeling who. But if Nola's not your ace, I think that you would probably get an argument from most of the Philadelphia roster, most of the Philadelphia fans, most of the Philadelphia media. If you took a poll right now, Wheeler wouldn't be close. It wouldn't be close. He's not Philadelphia born, bred, blood, sweat, and tears. Nola is.
That's a good point. Wheeler was pretty close, though, his last start.
No, I'm talking about he hasn't even been with the Philadelphia 1 year. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit sentimental. I consider, it's like my captain. Guess what? My captain is not a guy who just stepped on board of a ship that I've been mopping the floors and swabbing the decks on for years and years. And if you stay, I might have to, toe the line. Maybe I couldn't toe. You guys know me. I could never toe the line. I would tell the bitch, you're not my captain, but here I am. I'm here to do the work. Because if I don't, you're gonna make me walk the plank or stick something up my rear rectum, and I'm not gonna like it too much.
Well, somehow you drag that out of him, John. Somehow, I don't know how you do it every day, John Ryan, but you do it.
I'm trying to be. I'm being passionate about. Listen. I don't have a favorite team in baseball. I don't have a favorite player. Those teams, those players they play tonight, and I pushed across the counter on them. They're my favorite team, my favorite players.
That's right.
But I'm passionate about baseball and the direction I think it's in trouble and the way it's gone. And maybe you're right, John. Maybe there are no more aces. Maybe there is no more loyalty. Maybe there isn't any more hometown team. Gaming is now becoming prevalent, and the accessibility to it is, coast to coast now. So maybe it's time that I join the 19th century, and the rest of the hard. That I started, instead of sending my stuff on Mule, that I actually trusted the post office, maybe I need to do those things.
I don't know what post office is.
My 2 cents on it. Since,
Yeah,
I mean,
come on, Tony.
The captain, my captain thing that dates back to like the Warren Spahn era. At this point, we know enough where if Walker Buehler is pitching better than Clayton Kershaw down the stretch, and you have to manipulate your rotation for them to be on the right levels of rest, that's where it goes. I mean, if Wheeler's doing the same thing to Nola, I don't think that matters. But I mean, I get the sentimentality of it. I think that's exactly the right word. It makes guys feel good that Clayton Kershaw's getting the ball in game 1 because he's been there before. But, I mean, at this point, Buehler has 2. And, I mean, maybe that's a different situation than Nola Wheeler. But if he gives up 2 runs in the first inning, they're not going to be feeling as good about that as they started the game with. So,
Is there such a thing as – let's put it this way. The splits for Nola – last year I did some research on that because it was every time I'd go on a show, every time they'd say Nola's at home, we need to break out the air raid chains and lock him in the closet for the game. And then tell him we were clean, we forgot. But it's hard to do, guys. It's really hard to do because if I'm Nola, don't tell me I can't perform in front of the girls, because I can. Even though I've failed so many damn times before, I can and I will. and it's Nola he's not that guy. He's not. I don't know him personally. Maybe you guys could tell me different, but he's not that guy that's flamboyant, that's searching the camera or the microphone. That's not him. So maybe he's able to step back and see the big picture better than me. Because again, if you tell me that, I'm sorry, Tony, you're going to sit this one out because we're in the Ukraine and you have a warrant for your arrest here, and we don't think you're going to be able to perform. I'm saying, hold it, man. I'll wear a mustache. I'll wear a wig. I want to be on the mound. That's just me. I want to be there. I want to be playing. I want the ball.
Looking at the StatCast between Scherzer and Nola, when Nola
that's a great. I'm sorry I missed that. By the way, I don't know how you talked about Scherzer and Nola and what you guys' opinion on. I think if I'm Nola, I'm so insulted by the money line that I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna hire a sniper. I'm gonna hire some hecklers, something, because I'm pissed.
I can see that.
Does he know the money line, Aaron Nola?
Well, if he doesn't, then shame on him.
That's all Scherzer money, though. I think it's interesting that. So Scherzer just had a pretty good start in his Dodger debut when he was at Dodger Stadium, right? He's had to have pitched multiple more times in Philadelphia than in L.A. So this is almost like a home game. His last game for the Nationals was in Philly. Yeah. So
both of these pitchers, Tony, both have very good numbers against any lineup the Dodgers or Philly put out there. They have really good numbers.
Yeah, that's what Rob broke down.
Yeah, they really do. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not touching this game whatsoever, but I would side with the first 5 under.
Yeah. Listen, unders. I mean, my first thought was, how's Dave going to screw this one up?
If we get Will Little behind the plate, he can't.
Guess where Will Little is today?
Tell me quick.
And I apologize for not bringing that up already, because that's big news, and that's damn big news. And I got distracted with this responsibility I had for a college football preview on an affiliate out of Kansas City, and I said, "Did I tell you I did this?" Oh, damn it! Okay, I'll be there. Will Little in Atlanta, and I like the under in this game. I like the under a little bit in this game. Without Will Little, with Will Little, it's almost like the lady of the night's coming to you and saying she's going to pay you to spend the night.
Well, that's an interesting comparison.
I looked at that because I wanted to hop on Sonny Gray.
Yeah,
but the Reds don't hit lefties well, so maybe you're on the right track with Smiley. And the only thing that scared me off too is Gray's. Been off of late.
The word smiley never makes me smile. How about you guys? When I see
That makes me smile when I'm fading them.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Now, here's something funny. I just got to know Barry Smythe a little bit. Actually, he actually called me. It was a good conversation, and he's a New Yorker. And he says here is Tony from Jamaica, Queens.
Barry, I was born in St. John's Hospital in Jamaica, Queens, but technically I was raised outside of there. But if you want the literal where I took my first breath, yeah, I guess.
That's where it was programmed.
I didn't realize he was talking about you, Tony Mejia.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
he was.
I know that I know my gray hair and my accent, my Midwest accent. You mistake me from being Jamaica all the time.
That's why I was finding it comical. Bad host.
No, good host.
Yep. Here
Bad
we go.
drugs. Gotta get some
Wyatt
good
is
drugs.
gambling again.
What's that?
Killing it at blackjack, and I told him, I said, if you get caught counting cards, you're not calling me for bail money.
Yeah, no. You gotta be able to count. First of all.
Either.
Online blackjack. They're notorious for that.
Yeah.
I know something else they're notorious for, but we won't go into that. I'll get passionate about that too.
Yeah, we got a lot of action again today in the chat room, which is cool.
How the hell did that Yankee game go over yesterday? I looked at it, it was 7. It was nothing to nothing, and I said, "Well, you suck, Finn." And so I went about my business.
Tony.
What?
I put a tweet out, just as we outlined in great detail on this show, under first 5. Mm-hmm. If that's working out, we bet the over. It was nothing going into the 5th. The line was 4.5, and I tweeted, just wait a little bit longer and we'll get 3.5. And I really felt like I was being a pig waiting for the 3.5. But at the same time, 4.5 would have won too.
Yeah, the three of you guys,
who would have ever
how
known?
do you feel about this? After that show yesterday, I had one person who listened into that show that's one of my degenerate neighbors. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He wasn't working, but he's drinking heavily and bored, so he listened to us. And he told 2 of his buddies that were playing hooky at his house, being degenerates as well. And so they all 3 came over and said, they came with the back patio and said, you got anything? We ran out of tequila. You got any? I said, oh, you know me, I don't drink tequila. And they said, how do you play it under in first 5 and then play over for the game? That's what they're asking me, those kind of things.
Bullpens.
And I said, what?
You watch baseball in 2021.
Yeah, well, and 2020. That's whatever.
Yes.
But it was more of this. It's more of how the public attacks games and how they perceive things. And sometimes we forget. I don't know that we forget, but sometimes we neglect to remember. Maybe that's a better phrase. That there's certain things that we do that they make sense. Metrically, they make sense. Mathematically, they make sense. But people see it as daring and brash and irresponsible. You understand that?
Yeah.
People come up to say, Tony, it takes that's a bold play to make that kind of play. And my first thought is, why is that bold? It's not really bold. It's bold perceptively. I mean, perceptionally, it is because of recency bias, whatever it may be. But that under over thing, I didn't do it. So I had already had plenty on the over in full game. But again, I got busy doing some writing and doing some reading, and I didn't check the game until the 6th inning, and it was 0-0. And I didn't even go look at the box score. I said, why do you want to go rub? Why do you want to rub salt in the wound right now and see there's 2 no-hitters going and you're playing the over? So, but it was funny when it was funny when we got to the 9th inning and it was 3-2. the first thing I said to myself, I looked, it was 3-2, Royals are up. I said, the Royals are going to score 1. This thing's going to go to extra innings, and both teams are going to combine for about 25 runs in the extra innings. And, of course, they didn't quite score 25. But it's exact. Listen, extra innings, guys, I want you to know, I am 15-4 in extra innings this year.
That's great,
15 losses.
You have to hate it, right?
15 losses, 4 wins.
Oh, 4-15 then. So you do
Well,
hate it.
I know, but 4-15 makes the story good. If I say 15-4, I got you.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it now. It's
Oh, I hate it too, Tony. It's supposed to be a coin flip. Now I think it's more of a coin flip. Why am I 4-15?
In extra inning games, you are 4-15.
Well, I'm
Because of-
4-15 in a lot of things in life.
17 of those 19 games were blown leads too, if I remember right.
Well, yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous. I don't want to go. It's ridiculous to rehash the story. We could write a little book, Tony at bat, on the extra inning games alone this year. We don't do it. I already forgot. I know the record only because it pisses me off, but I forget about it pretty quickly and move on.
But the pendulum is going to swing the other way big for you.
Yeah, well,
That's why I brought it up.
Well,
It will swing big.
you want to believe so. You do want to believe that all things, what goes around comes around. And it's just a matter of this, though, guys. I believe that. It's just a matter of whether it happens tomorrow or it happens after I'm dead.
Did you guys see the Giancarlo Stanton note about in that
Oh,
game?
no, but I said something about him yesterday. I said to him on the radio, I said, John, have you earned your friggin' pay? No.
He had the hardest hit ball in baseball history yesterday, and it was an out. Like the
I thought
hardest.
you were going to say it was a foul ball. I was waiting for you to say it was the hardest hit, but it was a foul ball.
Exit velocity. No, it was a ground ball to second, like a sharp ground ball.
And that's
second.
the hardest. What happened? Is the second baseman in the hospital?
No, he scooped it up, threw him out. Highest velocity, exit velocity of 120 miles or greater.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. That's the guy. Now Barnum Baden's calling. They're calling saying, "Listen, we have the guy that used to catch the bullet with his teeth. He died. We need you."
Another interesting analogy from Tony Finn.
Well, come on. 120 mile an hour ground ball that it doesn't take a true hop hurts.
Well, maybe he ought to start uppercutting so it's not a ground ball.
Oh God, here we go with the launch angle and the geometry.
Well, for those that are seeing this for the first time, launch angle to John Ryan is Davey Roberts to Tony Finn.
Oh, then I feel badly for you.
Fair assessment.
Every time launch, angle, those words come up. I've asked my friends named David to go by their middle names when they're around me, and Robert Day Jr. I had to block him. He can't call anymore because I see Robert. It's just bad.
Well, I'm trying not to talk about Philly too much, but there's a lot of good things happening there. Bryce Harper, he has definitely been the top hitter in Major League Baseball over the last month. Okay? Take a look at the video of his swings. Is it all about the launch angle, or is it about hitting through the effing ball?
It's
Is it
about
hitting
swinging
opposite
out of your
field?
shoes. It's about
He
nothing
really
more
does
than
that.
swinging out of your shoes.
You won't see him do that too much. You'll see him swing and miss. And by the way, you said Herrera was Scherzer tonight. He's one of the guys who, I think Rob mentioned it, good hitter against Scherzer, right? Relatively speaking. He has one of the lowest swing and miss percentages in the National League as well.
That helps
And I
hit
think
the
making
ball. That helps.
contact against Scherzer that's the whole key. But we'll learn more later. But I did read an
All
interesting
you have to
story.
do,
I
guys.
have
All
this
you have to
baseball
do.
now for Steve Merrill.
What do you got?
Well, it's a real baseball.
Okay.
And remember he was talking about the spike curve?
No,
Well, that's it.
that's a knuckle curve.
That is a spike curve.
Well,
Or a
I call it a
knuckle curve.
knuckle
You can
curve.
call it a knuckle
Yeah.
curve if you
I
like.
call it a knuckle. Yeah. Okay.
But that's it. It's a two-seam grip. This
Yes.
finger tucked in.
That's
and
the only curve I can throw with a knuckle
all,
curve.
all 10, 11, and 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16-year-olds should throw that instead
Yeah,
of
I couldn't command
this.
it though. I couldn't command the knuckle curve.
You do have to have a big hand. My hands are pretty big.
They didn't name my band Little Feet because I had big hands.
Tony Mejia, you missed that segment yesterday. He mentioned Lowell George and Little Feet, and I just about lost my mind because I haven't heard anybody mention that band. I loved that band back in the day.
Yeah. Well, Tony's
I like them better than the
he just
Grateful
turned
Dead.
30. He just turned 30. How's he supposed to know who Lil George and the Mothers are?
I do not know who that is, and I just turned 43. Thank you.
Well, damn, you look good for 30.
And I don't think he's going to take our word to Google it or look it up on iTunes.
Well, he's heard songs by Little Feet. He just doesn't know who Little.
That's
he
true.
just doesn't know.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go on to another big series here in baseball. Which do you guys have a preference? Which one to talk about? One you talked about on an earlier show to summarize?
Which one? Detroit and Baltimore?
That wasn't on my radar.
Oh no.
Actually, I did talk about Detroit.
I find it pretty interesting personally, but I think
man.
I think that what's it do for a team like Detroit? Here I'm going off. Here I am flying off the road on the off track, and because I like that little hill up there. Detroit, can they finish 500? I looked at the schedule. The long shot, they can finish 500. Detroit could this year. That alone is. That's the equivalent in my book of winning your first round playoff series. They're not going to be a playoff team, but I think it's an accomplishment in a division where everyone sucks, I guess, really, but Chicago, but Cleveland really doesn't suck. They really don't. And the truth is, Minnesota's done what they're supposed to do. They couldn't go anywhere but down after 2019 and 2020. They couldn't go anywhere but down. But the books kept pushing their season win total up, But I don't know what series you guys are talking about. Did you talk about
Boston, Tampa, maybe?
Well, that's a good series, isn't it?
Yep. Why don't we start with that one?
Tampa.
Yeah, it seems the betting consensus is on Boston. And,
Really?
for that, yeah, that's what I was seeing today. Unless it's changed on the
I didn't look.
some other sites.
Yeah.
Let's see what WagerTalk has.
I know that tonight the Rays are like plus 110, plus 112.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Yeah.
The Rays
so-
tonight are plus 110, plus 112 with
Well, yeah,
Veno
and they're supposed to be,
against,
right? They're supposed to be with Patino against Rodriguez, although I'll say this, Erod is not – he's never been anything special to me, and I thought this year he had I thought he'd been Erod with maybe an extra bottle of beer or two.
Yeah, he's terribly inconsistent, and he's
Yeah.
got a super high ERA, but he comes off a 10 strikeout game against Detroit. So, but I'm on that game for a client play.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay. Then
I'll tell everybody I like Tampa.
Yeah.
It's not a big
Patino?
client play, but slight plus money.
I immediately looked to see if he was related to Rick. He's not, so he's okay.
He's Colombian.
I know. Yeah, I know. Rick says he's Italian, but who really knows?
Yes.
Okay, with that said, the series price for this, and this is a 3-game series, I believe, with these guys. Yeah. So, okay, Boston is actually favored, minus 135, Rays plus 115. If Tampa Bay's to play tonight, is that another option for some of our guys in the chat room? Take Tampa Bay plus 115?
Tony knows. If you're in a series, 3-game, 5-game, or you're in a 7-game series and there's 3 games left, whoever you're playing, whoever you're backing that night, you're backing them for the series in most situations, unless it's 3-0 and you're playing game 4. You're being contrary to history, and you believe that the team down 3-1 or 3-0 is going to step up and win at all costs.
Well, the tricky part about betting Rays is, you got to get this one tonight because they haven't named a starter for tomorrow. It's Eovaldi for the Red Sox, and the Red Sox haven't named a starter for Thursday. It's Drew Rasmussen for the Rays, and I haven't seen much of him.
I have.
Yeah? You like?
Yeah, I have. I like Rasmussen in certain situations. I'll have to look at this one, but But I think the reason Boston's 135. Tony just told you why. First off, it's pretty much an even series right now, and they're playing some games pitching wise. But for the most part, Boston gets the edge here only because they're in Fenway, right? That's why they're 135.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's where they opened this morning too. Betting the Flows, I was wrong in my statement. The Flows have been steadily on Tampa Bay, 61%. Tickets and money are the same. And that's not enough to get excited about being too excessive. Also, the Phillies are plus 160, Dodgers minus 180 for the series. Any thoughts on that price?
Well, I'm sorry. What was the numbers again?
160, plus 160, Phillies at home, 3-game series, Dodgers minus 180.
TBDs on Thursday for both. And David Price against Gibson tomorrow.
Yeah, Philly at home. Here's the deal: plus 160. At plus 160, if you're gonna play, you're not finding any big edge. I think you're playing because you like either the price on Philly or you don't like John Machine Gun Kelly, and you just want to piss him off.
Well, you guys got me tuning into 97.5 the Fanatic, and also 94.1 WIP, and I listened to less than a minute, and I just about throw up. And the talk today was that that the 8-game win streak means nothing, and that this is, for lack of a better word, the litmus test for Aaron Nola and this Phillies squad, and it's also a litmus test for Girardi. So whatever happens in those series, you can bet come Friday morning, if it's not good, they're going to be ripping them to shreds. And that means they probably won 9 of their last 11 if they lose a series, and assume they win 1.
Is this the fan from New York?
No, this is the Phillies.
Okay. This is the two.
Well, then, do you? I guess my question is: I hear you speak. You speak to and about the media in Philly. Consider on many occasions, John, since we've done the show. Don't you think, as much as you think that they're just typical fanatics or Philly fanatics, for instance, I think they're just doing. I think what they do is that's how they're getting people to listen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. That's the way
it's one of the only cities really that can find negative in an 8-game win streak.
You preach doom and gloom, and you're divisive, and then you become either they love to hate you or they hate to love you, but they do anyway. So that's. Yeah. But I don't know the guy's name, but is it Massinelli, who's a real jerk? His takes are awful, and then he's abrasive and. I don't care.
Well,
say
he's
his
one
name
of them.
If that's the right. He's one of them. Okay, I thought that.
Yeah,
was
the other one starts with an A, not to mention any names. Rob Veno knows him.
What's his initials?
What is his last name? It's Angelo.
Oh, okay.
Rob Veno. What's his last name?
Marco?
No.
Marco Angelo?
But to Tony's point, Mike Missinelli really is. I mean, he probably bothers me more than any other media host in this town. I mean, that guy pulls some stunts. He's fired from radio stations here. Two guys
that are supposed to be, or should be, or are, for the most part, pretty level. Don't get too high, don't get too low. I don't, not on my games. On certain subjects I will, but on games I don't get too high or too low. Right. But they've done their job then. If they've got you two riled up.
Well, I'm just saying, for example, I mean, and this goes a few years back with Missinelli. He gets a guest on Jim Bowden, who's been in organizations as a general manager for a lot of years. He's not anymore. I don't think Jim Bowden's affiliated with any organization anymore. But at the time, I think he was working for somebody else, and it was like a April or a March preview of the NL East. And at the time, Philadelphia was the favorite to win the division. Washington was maybe third choice. Jim Bowden came on the show. You have him on because he's an analyst, right? He's going to analyze the division for you. He breaks down all 5 teams, and in conclusion, Jim Bowden says he thinks that in the end, Washington will win that division. And Missinelli basically slammed the phone and then spent the next 10 minutes on air demanding an apology. How dare that guy come on and tout the Nationals? And truth be told, the Nationals won the division that year. So, I mean, when you have a guy like that, Tony, that's the only part that bugs me. You have a guy on because you're looking for his opinion, and then because his opinion doesn't, coat your ass, you do what he did.
Man, and you should.
Problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do.
Jim Bowden's been, whether you like him or not, he's been in baseball for a long, long time. You got to respect his opinion. If the point is come on my Philadelphia radio show and tout the Phillies, then let the guy know ahead of time.
Come on my show and kiss my ass so I can invite you back, right. and we can all, everything's wonderful in Never Never Land.
Well,
so
I mean, talk radio is what it is. You're absolutely right. It's just when guys that are supposed to be professional act like that. Like that's how a. I don't want to insult any blue-collar industry here because I come from there too. But
listen,
I mean,
we won't tell them. We won't tell them.
Somebody in a bar could host that show and be pissed off because he's a 100% Philly fan and doesn't want to hear anything different. But if you're the host, come on, give me a break. Act professional at some point. And they don't. Or at least he, more than anybody, does not. He's always in the right. He's I'm not even going to get into it, but he bugs me a little bit. So,
and guess what? You still listen to him?
What's that, Tony?
Do you ever tune in and listen to him?
Not often because I'm never in the car. I'm always in this office. And
do you not
radio in the office?
You don't listen to talk radio in the office?
No, I have a TV monitor on with them muted, but
I listen to WagerTalk.
I just pull up whatever radio show I want to listen to. If there's someone on and I know they're going to discuss something and I want to hear their opinions, I just say Google, turn that SOB on. I'll listen to him for 10 minutes, and then she'll bring him up.
I will. I noted it down right now. I'll tell you what is really crazy about this is that I view the Philadelphia media as a huge handicapping asset. And you may remember my Python-coded app that goes into Twitter and identifies sentiment. So you can do it specifically in a region, where the account has to be Philadelphia or surrounding 25 miles outside of Philly or 10. And we can come up with these parameters on the show, and then I'll run it in like a week when we get a little bit closer. And we'll track it every single week. In fact, I'll run it every single day for the Philadelphia Eagles. And
so what are you trying to? But I've always asked you, what are you trying to? What's the ultimate?
Unbelievably contrarianly accurate. So when the coach should be fired, they suck. The quarterback should be removed, and it's all toxic. And it's all toxic crap because they lost a single football game and they're 4-1. That's when you buy them.
So it's for entertainment purposes. Are you saying
I actually use this information to handicap my games that
as
involve
a predictive
the
model?
Eagles.
You're using Philadelphia fans as a predictive model?
It can be part of a predictive model.
Okay.
I kid you not.
I would say that
Rob, am I right?
Living in Philadelphia bad enough? Oh, shit, here come the Twitter drive-bys. I mean, isn't Philly frustrating enough that you have to use them as a predictive model?
The fact that they are what they are because it helps me.
Oh, okay. But it helps you what, though? That's what I'm trying to get you.
It's when they're ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater is when you buy the Philadelphia sports teams. Okay?
Man, I don't know. It's not in my. See, I understand that. I know. I don't use my gut very often.
I rely on media for information only. Beat writers are my best friends.
Oh yeah.
Talking heads, no way.
Yeah, no. Here's the problem. As soon as I play a game based on my gut, I find out 2 hours later that it was just gas.
Let's get back to the original point here, which John was saying was that the Philadelphia fan base and media is not convinced yet. And I could 100% believe that because
Me too.
They just beat teams that they were supposed to beat. I mean, on this show, you two guys especially have beaten the Mets offense to death, so why wouldn't they beat them? And before that, they played the Washington Nationals, who are depleted. Why wouldn't they beat them, even though they struggled to do so? But 11 of the next 14 guys are against the Dodgers, the Reds, the Padres, and Tampa Bay. All potential playoff teams. I could throw Cincy in as a potential. The other three probably.
They're all playoff teams today.
11 of the next 14 are serious business. And if they don't do well in those 11 to 14, then yes, you can get on the Phillies and ride their ass. You should. And you can say after that 14-game stretch that, they beat the garbage, but they couldn't beat the good team. So I can totally see that point being made by Philadelphia fan base and media today. I wouldn't, shrug that off. It's what they're looking for. They're looking to beat good teams now. They're a team that, what are they, 4 games over 500? They're not great by any sense of the imagination, any stretch of the imagination. They're
in first place.
That's all they are. Because if the playoff system wasn't what it is and division winners have to go, they wouldn't go. They're not a playoff team. They're the 6th best record. So, I can understand the fans wanting to see a little something more out of this team. What they did just now is cute, but it doesn't prove anything to them, and maybe it shouldn't.
The Braves got written off when Acuna went down, but they're right there, and they're 7-3 in their last 10. So,
And their organization went out and, got as many available bats as they could, and they pressed. They said, you know what, we have a shot here. And the Phillies went out and got a couple of pitchers to try and do the same.
They've been the most consistent team in baseball all year, the Braves. The most consistent. I don't think they were ever at any point more than 4 games under 500, and they had never even been above 500 until 3 days ago. I mean, they're so consistent and stupid. That's not a good consistent necessarily. Not if you're trying to win a division or be a playoff team, but they've had a lot of injuries, and I'm still that school, guys. Tell me I'm crazy, or tell me I'm dead solid perfect, and that is this post-COVID. And I hate saying post-COVID because I know we're not in post-COVID, but that post-2020 60-game sprint, it screwed up pitchers. It screwed up so many pitchers. It's stupid. Those guys are the technical routines, programs, and what they have to do has to be, for most of them, has to be the same every single day, every single week, every single month. And when you take that away from them take away what they had to go through last year, all the players, guys, then and all of us who follow them and have routines. That 60-day sprint was an absolute. It was a great American Horror Story.
And by the way, because I asked this question yesterday, we didn't really know the answer at the time, but Freddie Freeman is in the lineup tonight, so that upper respiratory, whatever it was.
We know what happened.
It's not coronavirus. He sat out 2 games, and maybe it looked like it could have been, but it's not.
They drove to Memphis, stopped over, walked through the girls playing guitar and waking their and wiggling their asses, and they got him out of there. Got him away from the whiskey and the bad cocaine. Freddie's back.
You're Ozzie Albies tonight, Tone, all right? You're Ozzie Albies. Pretend for a minute. You're number 1 on the Braves.
Okay.
You're a switch hitter.
Yep.
Sonny Gray, for whatever ridiculous reason, has reverse splits. Against righties, he can't get him out to hit 302 against him. Against lefties, he's a right-handed pitcher who dominates lefties. You would think you stack your lineup with lefties against a right-hander, but not the case with Gray. If you're Albies and you're a switch hitter and you've done nothing in your career against them, seeing those splits, do you turn around and hit right-handed tonight, or do you stick with lefty-righty matchup?
All I have to do is put a little sign around my neck that says, I was born in New York, and Gray, you suck. And you got him right where you want him.
Jamaica Queens?
Yeah. That's you, Tony.
No, that's me. The Albies has been great. The Braves have been really resilient. Fried has been terrible. He could turn it on. They're getting Ian Anderson back tomorrow, I think, is what I read earlier. And Freeman started slow, so if he finishes thing, they could steal it from John Ryan's Phillies, and he'd be very sad. I could tell on his face.
Yeah, never recovered from Ben Simmons yet, and then this on top of it. Oh. Good
It's
God.
going to be
He's already
wait till the Eagles.
projecting playoff rotations.
Wait till the Eagles take the field. Oh my God! And that, the bad part is it's September, which means the only this is what it means. Simmons just hasn't played an official game yet, or John would be difficult to be around.
Probably.
Probably.
You know, it's funny in the household though. Like this, just is coincidence. Rob Veno and I kept saying we just happen to live within 50 miles of Philadelphia, and as a result, you kind of know more about the teams than you do, say, on the West Coast. But I humbly say I've been a Patriot fan for a long time, and during high school it sucked. They were horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Steve Grogan was the best.
And my own kids have sometimes almost threatened to throw me out of the house during Eagle games. I wasn't passionate enough, or I was overly passionate when Brady would have his 200th comeback win. But seriously, during the Super Bowl that the Eagles won, there at the end. And I was very well behaved during the whole thing. I was sitting there, and Brady gets the ball again to win a Super Bowl. And I thought to myself, oh my God, he's going to do it again. And then right after that, I said, oh, please, God, don't do this. Don't wreck their Super Bowl. I swear that's what I said to myself, and I remained calm. 2 plays later, I didn't have to sweat it anymore.
Oh, shit.
Can you believe that? So I'm not really, I'm not a homer.
Please, God, do not let Tom Brady come back. My kids,
You're generous.
They will kill me.
That's generous.
Just wait till football season starts and we transition from Ben Simmons to Tom Brady.
Well, as we talk here, the line in the Phillies-Dodgers game has transitioned a little bit. The Phillies have taken money. Dodgers
They should
down,
have.
Down 10 cents, and the first 5 under has taken some money at Pinnacle, which is, a place
Yeah.
that we respect. Obviously, they've gone from 4.5 down to 4. But the Phils no longer tough to find any 140s anymore. It's all 135 in that area at this point in time. So Phil's getting a little bit of money. First 5 under getting a little bit of money here.
So they're listening to me.
Yeah, I mean,
If you want to hear yes, you want to hear us say yes, yes, John, they're listening to you.
That's the most arrogant thing I've ever said on these shows. That is the most arrogant thing I've ever said. But why don't we do the best bets for the show final round? And I'll start, and we'll go Mr. Finn, Mr. Mejia, and we'll end with our anchor being Rob Veno. And mine is going to be pretty quick. And here it is. I like the Twins tonight. In fact, once in a while I will recommend a parlay with 2 dogs of significance. I don't know if the Phillies are actually priced enough to do that. I usually like it between 150 and 175, and then if you have 2 of those in the same day, pizza money bet can turn into a pizza parlor. But you still only lose a pizza if it's not right. So you're going to bet on home dogs. And let me just get rid of this banner thing here. Here we are. Now we can see it. And I like this one personally, but if you find something wrong with it and dissect it and don't agree with it, that's fine. But bet on home dogs, 125 to 175. Our favorite has had a great fielding streak of 15 consecutive games, committing no more than 1 error in each. Our home dog does not have fleas, even though it had 4 or fewer hits in their previous game. 20-11 for 65% winning bets. Last 5 seasons, averaging a plus 145 home dog wager, making the $100 better about $1,750. And with a little subset, if it is a divisional matchup, our home dog has crushed it with an 11-4 record, averaging that 142, 145 wager, and a 75% ROI. Even Steve Merrill can't do that with his trading. Last 5 seasons. Says to bet the Twins tonight. And you guys are dead quiet. I must have been convincing.
the Twins, up until last night, had been a nuisance for the last couple of series. They've been playing tough. They played Houston very tough. Right? I think they went 2 out of 3 down there.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Yeah. Been tough.
I went to add Scherzer is 14-1 when facing a team in the National League that has a season-to-date on-base percentage of 325 or lower. And guess who has that?
Got to be the Phils.
That would be working against the Phils. So our next free pick here is Lowell George. That's what he looks like, Tony Mejia, or he did look like.
Where are we at? Hold on. I was looking at something else, so I don't have you guys potted up.
That is a. Let me tell you something right now.
That's a real good picture.
That's an early '70s image of Lowell George. Maybe he was a little bit rougher than that in the late '70s. Gotcha. In the late '70s, he died.
79, I think it was.
Yeah. The best concert, and here we're going to get off track, but the best concert I ever saw was where Wilt Chamberlain used to play basketball, and Lowell George and Little Feat were warmed up by Tower of Power. And if you know who Tower of Power is, Tower of Power warmed up, and that was that live album that they did. What was the name of the album? It was something Christopher. I'll think of it here, but I'm getting senile in my old age. I don't remember stuff 2 minutes ago, let alone 5 minutes ago. But that was a great concert. I mean, Tower of Power walked up and down the aisles playing their horns. And they're a San Francisco group. They were a San Francisco horns band, basically an ensemble that were fantastic, man. Now, if you like horns, I am a big Mexican big band fan. I like horns.
Looks like Jack Black in School of Rock, that guy.
What?
Is that your free information pick for the show?
Lowell George. If you can find him, tell him Pablo's looking for him. Okay, now, what we're going to do is we were going to go to – I was going to play Garrett in Miami, but I'm going to get away from that game because it would take longer to explain myself and why I was taking Miami over San Diego and Stamens and that. So I'm going to do this. We'll stick with what we already talked about. Smiley and Gray. Listen, Gray hasn't been great recently. Not great. But here's the problem with Gray. Since I thought when he left New York and became a Red, he really had a lot of success, was missing a lot of bats. But he's really struggled. And now that, in the last 5 years, we concentrate you, me, stat head, sabermetric freaks. That third time through the order, Gray's been absolutely horrendous. I mean, it's almost like he basically gives you a blueprint of what he does in the first 2 times you're up and bat against him. Because, so here's the deal. I'm going to play the under in this Smiley and Gray. But once Gray's gone through the lineup twice, you guys need to sacrifice something. I don't know what it is, but you have to sacrifice to the gods that the Cincinnati bullpen doesn't show up. And I mean, the real Cincinnati bullpen doesn't show up. And we survive. That's under 9.5. Cincinnati, Atlanta.
So under full game, 9.5?
Yes, we don't – listen, it's we go all the way. Here, we don't do this half-ass stuff, half game show. A full game.
I'm writing it down.
It's a Will Little game, enough said.
Will Little behind the plate. I don't like to yell that, scream that too loud because sooner or later they're going to start adjusting for Will Little, and we're going to be pissed. It's equivalent of an ex-New York Met that lost like 20 straight games for the Angels, and you were faded in for 20 straight games, and you're just about ready to become king of the world. And they release him. You go through a mourning period. You can call your doctor, ask for some antidepressants.
They never caught up to John Hershey.
Harvey, when he got released by the Angels, it was like my dog passed.
Uh-oh.
That was my dog. He's calling. No, Angels. Gray. Atlanta. Reds. Or
Under 9.5.
under.
Full game.
Full game, sir.
On to Tony Mejia here. Give him the spotlight.
All right. Well,
Where are you taking us?
I'll go to just advisory. People should bet the summer league in the NBA. They really should, because there are a lot of opportunities. Now, tonight you should absolutely just watch for the entertainment factor of Cade Cunningham against Jalen Green, the 1 and 2 picks, and that'll be on prime time on ESPN. It's Rockets against the Pistons. So that'll be fun. And then there's like 4 games, and I have a 4% up play up one. I love one so much. So that's just a public service announcement from me.
Is it? Oh, do you have a play on this game, Tony?
On what game?
On the feature.
Yes, I do. 2%.
Okay, good. Hey, listen, you did pretty well yesterday. I was going through. I never go through yesterday's plays, and I happened to do it. And Tony Mejia. Once I pulled up yesterday's plays, and I saw Tony Mejia's mug, I usually just pass over to Tony. Tony had the best draft. I can't read that list.
I would have gone 5-0. I told these guys that I got beat on a back door with 2.2 seconds left. That was the only loss. The Magic were favored by 3. They won by 2. They were up by 4. Secondly, I'm going to join John Ryan in backing up an unproven pitcher, because he's backing Griffin Jacks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, you guys remember his father, right?
Yes.
He played for the.
I do not.
He played for the Cowboys and the Cardinals, in like the 80s and 90s. So right as I started watching, he was. I think he was a safety, I want to say, but I just thought he had the coolest name growing up. He was a linebacker, and he played at FSU, and that's why I knew him, because he was, as I had moved to Florida, he was an FSU alum, and he played for the Dallas Cowboys. And that's this guy's dad. And then this guy is the first Air Force Academy graduate in MLB history. Griffin Jacks.
That's amazing.
So, because I did some research on that game earlier, because I wanted to see if I wanted to ride the White Sox at minus 150. And this guy's he got hit hard in his first start, and I guess has been pitching to contact since. So maybe that'll help him tonight. I'm staying off that game. But I am going to Luis Patino from Barranquilla, Colombia, who has home and away splits that you should totally stay away from. So you can play it either the way I told you to earlier. So it's already, I gave it out as a free play. That's why I'm going back to it. As I like the Rays plus money. Or you can back the over, because I don't trust Eduardo Rodriguez. And this kid, Patino, has really not done well on the road. You can tell why. He's given up 3 home runs in both home and away. But at home, he manages to keep runners off base, and on the road he has not. And this will be his first time ever pitching against the Boston Red Sox, so ever seeing Fenway, and only Kike Hernandez has seen him. So interesting, but that tells you how much I don't trust Eduardo Rodriguez, especially coming off a 10K start. So give me Tampa Bay, and play the over if you disagree.
You got it, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. I think Glenn Campbell wrote a song about that.
Before you do your free pick in the chat room here, Rob, how is your son's band? Heard they good music?
He went to school in Missouri.
Man.
He went to school in Missouri. They play hillbilly music. The Ozarks.
Is it Huge Feet?
I think this guy's been watching us for a while, to be honest, Pete. Since day one.
Well, he didn't.
He knows too much.
He does. Well, he probably works for the government then. And that's my fault.
No.
The son who went to
I'll ask him
Missouri.
in the chat room.
The son who went to Missouri isn't in the band. He works.
Oh, he's
at
not?
ESPN. No, he works at ESPN.
Well, there's
But my
plenty of big guys in bands.
My oldest is a drummer, and I actually talked to him about an hour before we came on. They're in Denver tonight. They're back on the road for the first time in 17 months. They're playing an outdoor festival cross country, started in California. They're
Does he
now
play
in
for
Denver.
Fish?
They'll be Fish, Phish.
Yeah.
Go Fish.
Yeah. No, my son's a fish freak, and he's in Denver, so I thought maybe Which I can I'll give him the address of that place to stay.
Yeah, I don't, the outdoor festival has 6 bands. I don't know that Fish. I honestly don't know if they're on the bill or not. Maybe they are.
If your son is playing with Fish, then then he's big time.
Yeah. And there will be a lot of fun people at the.
There will be. It'll be fun.
Passing the little electric cigarette around.
They'll be the children of deadheads. Those are the kind of people who go see Fish.
Yeah.
Well, they will be back cross country, so everything's well there. Let me go ahead. I want to back just something that Tony Mejia said about NBA Summer League. I was extremely high on Davion Mitchell. For those who want some entertainment value, if you can catch the Sacramento Kings at all, Davion Mitchell has been outstanding so far in limited games. I think maybe 2 or 3 games. They also played in the California Classic. I watched him last night, and I learned his new nickname.
The King.
Is it night off or off
night?
Night. Off night. Yeah, because James Book Night, he had Book Night last night, and Book Night had an off night. Mitchell's defense has been tremendous. Certainly the remainder of the Kings on that Summer League roster are somewhat taking his lead because the Kings look pretty decent defensively, which at least better than what they were, which isn't, saying a lot, but he may be making an impact on that squad overall. So Davion Mitchell worth the price of viewing if you can find the Sacramento Kings.
One quick thing, Rob, on that.
Yeah.
We'll give out another free play, but you got to be in charge of it because I looked at that game and wanted to bet Sacramento, but Davion Mitchell came up lane yesterday.
He did.
So maybe they don't sit him tonight. Or maybe they do sit him tonight. If they don't sit him tonight, I'm all over the Kings. The Wizards had a terrible luck getting the COVID thing on Sunday, so they haven't really played, and they had to scratch a couple of people off their roster. Doesn't look that impressive as it is. So, yeah, Sacramento, it's Mitchell, Chimezie Metu, some other guys you've heard of. So, yeah, and it's a pick'em. So if Mitchell plays, I'll be adding that to my card.
As soon as Walton comes up lame, then we can bet the Kings.
I'll say this, Tone, from having a stake in the game last night and watching it, Davion Mitchell, with about 4 minutes left, he had been on the sideline laying on his back for quite a while. They were working on him, and the announcers were questioning whether or not he was going to be injured for a while, but he re-entered that game, the final 2.5 minutes, and played tremendous defense. It didn't look like there was anything wrong with him. So I don't know the severity of the injury, but I do know he re-entered and played the last couple of minutes, 2.5 minutes, and Sacramento pulled away from there on. So maybe he goes tonight as well, something to look for sure. I'm going to, Tony, Finn, you mentioned this game earlier, but I use this as a written free play, so if you want to go find it at WagerTalk.com, you can. But the Detroit-Baltimore game, I played Casey Mize and the Detroit Tigers full game at the time. I think this morning it was like minus 117. A few reasons here. I mean, overall, I thought you had a starting pitching edge, obviously, over Keegan Aiken, and I thought you had a bullpen edge as well because the Baltimore bullpen the last 2 weeks has just been an unmitigated disaster. Up there's the call. Tell me if I need to switch this play, Tone.
No, it's from no, you don't have to.
I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
Casey Mize threw against these guys on, I think, the 29th of July. Had a rather easy 7 innings. No earned runs allowed. In that game, he only put 6 guys on base, so it was pretty easy for him. Remember, again, something that has stayed true the entire season is Baltimore's disparity between hitting lefties and righties.
Yes.
Still like the number 3 hitting team against lefties OPS-wise in Major League Baseball, but they're 27th or 28th, maybe even 29th against right-handers. It's been bad for them against right-handed pitching. Obviously, that's what Mize is. In games where Keegan Aiken has appeared this year, the Orioles are 1-14. Those are pretty good numbers on their own. I'm going to say what you said, Tony, Finn, just a different way here. But the Tigers, to me, yes, they're out of playoff contention, but they're playing really hard, and it's with the anticipation of possibly catching Cleveland for second place. Now, you said they could go 500. It's kind of saying the same thing, but they're only 3 games behind the Indians for second place. And if they were ever to come in second place in A.J. Hinch's first year, that would be again, I forget what you equated it to, but I'm going to double down on what you equated it to. The Tigers are going to play hard the remainder of the year. Just on a sentimental note, Miguel Cabrera has 498 career home runs heading into this series. He could get the 500 in this series. He faces the lefty Aiken here tonight. It's very possible you may see him get one. Against left-handed pitching this year, the Tigers, believe it or not, they're an above 500 team, 19-17 against lefties. So I think, I played full game because I thought Detroit had the pitching edge from start to finish. Thought they had the better starter. Thought they had the better bullpen. Certainly Baltimore's not great against righties. So I played Detroit at the time minus $1.17. It may be higher now. It may be lower. I'm not sure. Give it a look. Tigers tonight in Baltimore. Money line, full game.
I like it. I do.
And last but not least, we'll just go around the horn for anything you want to reiterate that you have going up at WagerTalk. I'm on sportsmemo.com. I'm 25-12. Major League Baseball run is leveled out a little bit, but looking to get it back into high gear again. I have 3 plays, $19, regularly $49. And there's a special NFL package that is half off for $600. And I was 65.8% against the spread last year and ranked number 1 at sportsmemo.com. So make sure you get both and then get these 3 guys as well, because you're saving $600 to spend extra on these 3 guys. Tony Finn, what do you have going at wagertalk.com?
I have scheduled an appointment with my masseuse, so I'm not. After I get done, I'll know exactly what I have scheduled at WagerTalk. I have 3 college football.
Is that a pay-per-view event?
I listen. That would probably nobody wants to see Tony Finn in his bathing in a Speedo. No one.
Okay.
Not even Tony Finn. 3 college football, 3 college baseball, basketball, football, 1 in NFL week 1. And I've been scolded so many times for using this phrase, and I sincerely appreciate all the scolding from those who scolded me, because I know they care. But I got a week 1 more to lock in the NFL. I'm on it. You can get it now. Guaranteed. WagerTalk.com.
And the line's not going to get better on that game.
It won't get better. That's really the guarantee of the whole damn pick. I guarantee you, no matter what happens, this line will not get better.
Tony Mejia.
Well, we got that all-access pass through September 13th, where you save $269, and there's a lot of action through September 13th. First few weeks of college football, obviously the NFL. Tomorrow, it's the Champions Super Cup in Europe, where it's Chelsea against Villarreal. So there's some Champions League today, but that's going to die down. We got the NBA Summer League through the 17th. MLB every day. I'm on a 10-3 run, 7-1, 7-1 run lines. So hopefully that continues. And I'm unlike Tony Finn, and I can't put anything in this early because I'm a freak about injuries right up until the week of. So no football is up yet. But what I will do, and Finn, like I said, I'm coming to see you.
Yes.
And D'Amico and whoever else wants to hang out, we're going to be there for week 0 of college football season. So I'll be there that weekend. I know Hawaii's playing UCLA already.
How that is like. Do you know what kind of cojones it takes for someone like us to leave their office to sleep week 0? It's pretty difficult. I admire that, because you're not going to get a damn bit of work done if you're hanging out with me.
I'll have week 0 stuff done, so that weekend, and I'm on the red eye, so I'll be back home Monday morning. So I land Friday morning. I'll be back home Monday morning.
Have you done your due diligence on the pilot of that red eye?
I never do. I fly by the seat of my pants. I assume they're drunk and do their job.
No pun intended.
Well, Rob Veno, you bringing up the anchor here. What's going on at WagerTalk for you?
Well, Tony telling us that leaving your office, how dare you leave your office during week 0. It's exactly why I hired a group from the Philippines to help me with all my statistical work this year so that I can.
You did?
I absolutely did.
And have they started yet?
They're very good.
How's
So,
your
I'll
finance?
tell you this, guys.
How's your financing? Do you need some help with the money into this?
No.
Damn it.
No.
That's why they're outsourced from the Philippines.
No.
What?
I will tell you this.
What are they going to do? Like, what are they going to send you?
No, they don't
They
send- they-
cook a hell of a bowl of pho.
No. They don't send anything. I have a whole, like people have databases. I have Excel spreadsheets that just get overwhelming, Tone, when it becomes NFL, college football, NCAA basketball, and NBA basketball. I used to, be able to handle a lot of this on my own, but I just realized this year, with the additional work that we do on shows like this, I just can't handle it all myself. So what they do, and believe me, here's the best part of this. These folks don't know a darn thing
About
football, but you explain to them formulas in your spreadsheet and how you want numbers input, and they get it right the first time, and you don't have to double check a thing.
That's good
These
stuff.
guys are as sharp could be. So
I'm gonna send you this formula for Quaaludes, and I want you to hand it over to them.
listen, nothing illegal, Finn.
That's good stuff. I like to hear that. That's good. Good. You sure you don't need any financing help? Because I can give you some formulas to give to them.
When you're on, I have to learn to shut these heads because you lead me in directions where I should not even be talking about who I'm hiring to help me from the Philippines. I'm supposed to be talking about what I have on WagerTalk tonight, which is I'm the $2 handicapper over at WagerTalk.
Oh!
It is up and available.
Big news! I'll give you $1 for your play.
Real quick here. No, you could have it for free. You cheat into the back end and steal my stuff anyway.
No, never,
50,
ever.
50 and 28 in Major League Baseball the last month. #1 over at WagerTalk.
Nice.
That's really good because the first part of the season for me, for lack of a better term, it sucked. So I'm glad to be on the right end the last 5 weeks or so. Anyway, go get it. $2 Tuesday, WagerTalk.com. College football totals hit the board a couple of days ago, which absolutely put me to work here. Love college football totals. I'm with you, Tone. As far as playing early, it kind of scares me. I did a Pac-12 conference video with Drew Martin this afternoon, which will hit YouTube fairly soon. And in that, I mentioned the problem that Washington State is having right now with Nick Rolovich, just to talk about why you can't play early. But this Nick Rolovich situation up in Pullman is kind of crazy. So we'll see how that pans out. But go when it gets up there, WagerTalk TV, find that video. Drew and I have done a bunch of them on college football. Look forward to doing more. I've said enough, John. Take it away, please.
Is your $2 play baseball?
It is MLB,
Okay.
as a matter
Okay.
of fact.
I wanted to ask if I'm not. Listen. Well, never mind. I won't say it. Go get it. Go get that $2 play.
There's a
On a
bunch
final
of
note, I looked up.
preseason information real quick, guys. I was surprised at how much preseason information has become public so quickly, and it's led us to, I think most of us, to reacting by making preseason plays early, which is nice for us when we can get stuff up early. So preseason looks to be, or at least have the opportunity to be profitable this week 1, as head coaches are, they tell us game plans most every year, but I think they're telling us a little more than previous years. I got a lot of good notes here. So preseason football, check it out, WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, I have a video up on preseason football on my Twitter feed that we taped on WagerTalk today. It still plays, and I don't have it in yet because maybe the line will dip if the Chargers decide to play some starters, because the Rams won't. So if the Chargers don't play starters, then the line will dip a little more. But it started at 1.5, and I think it zoomed up, and it's because Sean McVay came out and said, "No way am I playing anybody," and I'm essentially punting on the preseason. And these coaches are being forthright. That's what Rob's saying.
And that's
Great
listen,
stuff.
Tony. And Tony, that's as beat writers, as it took me a while. The same applies to coaches, and that is you may have a relationship with a beat writer, and you may like what he has to say, but one of the things you have to assess is whether they're full of shit or not. And there are some that are they look to be transparent, and they're doing the best they can, but sometimes they kind of stretch and pull and bend stuff that I would prefer than not. So I'm with you, Tony. You guys, listen, I have a bunch of work to do. I've got to contact this Filipino.
I can hook you up.
Oh, I already got their number. I'm just kidding. I
middleman.
got their number.
Well, if I'm allowed to talk as the
I'm
host,
telling them
of
to
the
raise
show,
their
I can end it.
prices on Rob Veno.
Get
So he
us
needs
outta
some
here,
help with the
John.
money.
And on a final,
Get us out of here, John.
I'm doing it, man. On a final note, in case you were wondering, games in Major League Baseball that were 0-0 at the end of the fifth. The under is 1,653 wins, 120 losses,
Wow.
27 pushes. So betting the over is winning 6.8% of the time, but that's not in game. So you're gonna have to give
One
it
of
time
them
to
happened
get
last
the in game because it's going to be a lot better than that. But I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is pretty
I
interesting.
bet you a bunch of them have happened over the last 2 years too.
I
because
bet
of
they
the
have, too.
second inning thing.
And it probably happens
second
all the
base
time in
thing,
KBO, so maybe we ought to bet that.
in the 10th.
It's that
It has to
damn.
happen all the
It's that
time in
damn.
KBO.
It's that damn rule where you got to face 3 batters. It's tough.
Yep.
That is tough.
So anyway, thanks guys for your time. Make sure
Yeah,
you get
good
over
luck.
to WagerTalk and get their picks, and also buy mine. You can buy mine fourth as long as you get the other 3 guys too.
You can buy
So we
mine
have
as
to
long as you
do-
buy all 4.
He's getting close to being muted. He is a deaf mute.
And if
Gotta
you follow
tell
me on Twitter, you can see cute pictures of my kids going back to school later today.
Oh,
nice.
love that. Miss those days. Love that.
You have kids?
Not just a great professional bettor, but a family man too. Balanced life.
Gotta love that. Absolutely.
Very good. So on behalf of that, and
I
Tony
miss my
Mejia,
girls.
and Tony Finn, Rob Veno, myself, WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and the Predictive Playbook. May all the wins be yours.